do you remember dancing to Selena Gomez, Can't Keep My Hands to Myself, with Rose in front of the entire team at your first camp?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we did that. I don't think I would do that now.
You guys did a choreographed dance and Abby Wambach was there.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2025. I am so ready. We all did some reflecting over the holidays, and what I'm realizing is it's almost been one full year of the women's game. I have had the incredible opportunity to speak with so many wonderful people and players this past year, and I really wanted to highlight some of my favorite interviews. So, to celebrate 1 year of TWG, we're releasing 3 best of episodes with some of my favorite moments. First up, and I am very excited to share this one with you all, last year wouldn't have been nearly as memorable if it wasn't for these 3 U.S. Women's National Team players, better known as Triple Espresso. Swanson, Sophia Smith, and Trinity Rodman led the U.S. Women's National Team to Olympic gold for the first time in 12 years, scoring 10 of the 12 goals for the USA during the tournament. They dominated the Olympics, and it really felt like a long time coming to see these 3 play together and all be in such great form. I was lucky enough to chat with all 3 members of Triple Espresso throughout the past year, and I'm just constantly so impressed with their maturity in these interviews. Their approaches to the game and commitment to being the best they can is so inspiring, not to mention their styles of play. Attacking-minded, creative, and all just incredibly hungry to score goals. The best news is they are still so young, and we have so much more Triple Espresso in the years to come. To start off this best of Triple Espresso episode, I want to take us to the interview I did with Mal in October of 2024, post-Olympics and after the term Triple Espresso had been coined. Here's me asking Mal about the trio. I want to ask you about Triple Espresso a little bit. Like I mentioned before, you, Trinity Rodman, and Sophia Smith were so unstoppable on the attack the entire Olympic tournament. From your perspective, the 3 of you are all forwards, but you clicked so well together. What is it about your styles of play as individuals, and why do you complement each other so well?
Yeah, that's a great question. I honestly, I feel like on the field, we are all such different players, but obviously can play so well together. And I think during the Olympics, you saw that. I think it goes deeper than just on the field. I feel like off the field, we truly are like sisters, and I think that just being able to have the relationships we do off the field help so much on the field. And I think all of us bring different things to the game on the field, but just to be able to have that chemistry and bond off the field makes it so much easier on the field, honestly. It's just it's something that it's something that just feels right, and I feel like it was such a long time coming of us 3 being able to play together. And so for it to actually happen was pretty special and obviously so much fun.
It looked really fun. You're all still so young, so lucky for us, there is so much more Triple Espresso coming our way. I did want to ask specifically about your relationship with Sophia Smith. I know you're both Colorado natives, and I'm just curious, if your familiarity with each other from growing up, from playing together a lot, is that part of what helped you integrate back into the team so quickly? Is that dynamic between the 2 of you and just your personal relationship?
Obviously, growing up, Soph we both played for the same club growing up, and she was a couple years younger, but then we'd always scrimmage their team, and she would come and play with my team sometimes. So just having that familiar face from before obviously helped. And then, yeah, over the past couple years, we've grown just a lot closer. So just to be able to have a friend like that is from youth club soccer to now being on the world stage together is it's exciting. And I feel even though I'm a couple years older than Soph, I just feel our relationship has grown so much in the past couple of years. So I feel yeah, it was definitely, when I saw her back in February, it was my first camp back with the team. And I hadn't seen her since I got injured. We both were crying. Yeah, it was I know, February this year. Yeah, it was like we saw each other at camp, and then we just like started crying because it was like so long since we've seen each other. But yeah,
Oh.
I know.
Oh, that is really, really sweet. I just love when like really close friends off the field like also play so well together. It's just like the best thing
Yeah.
ever. Ugh. I just love their friendship so much. I have always said this, but good chemistry on the field really is so much easier when you love your teammates as friends. I think that becoming a professional, everybody always says you don't have to be friends with everyone, and obviously, you won't be best friends with everyone, but it really doesn't hurt to be. The most successful teams that I've played for, did I mention my 22 best friends from the 2019 World Cup, have really had a strong bond and a lot of love between everybody on the team. Sophia Smith had some similar things to say about her relationship with Mal in a conversation that we had earlier last year. Here's Soph on her and Mal playing together in Colorado.
So I played for a smaller club in the city that I was born in. And I remember always wanting to kind of change clubs because that's where Mal Pugh at the time played. And like that was like who I wanted to be. And I did change clubs and went exactly where Mal played and had the same coach, Lauren Donaldson, as Mal. And I just remember like meeting her in person and was like, okay, yeah, like this is who I want to be. So that's like a cute little story with Mal, because Mal's always been someone that I looked up to. And then Lindsay played for a different club, but I always knew of her. And when she was playing with the national team, thought it was really cool that she was from Colorado. Mm-hmm. And we kind of just like had that connection. And then obviously once we met each other, we became really close. But now we all kind of bond over the fact that we're all from Colorado.
Something must be in the water in Colorado to produce all these amazing players. Not just Soph and Mal, but also U.S. Women's National Team captain Lindsey Horan is from the same part of Colorado. It's just so cool that Sophia and Mal have such a strong history together. They've already known each other for so long. Something I mentioned before is how young Triple Espresso is, which for us as USA fans is really exciting. Mal is 26, Soph is 24, and Trinity is 22. But despite their young ages, Soph, Mal, and Trin are now in more leadership roles, with younger players coming into the U.S. Women's National Team, like Alyssa Thompson, Lily Johannes, and Jaden Shaw. I spoke with Soph about transitioning into this leadership role. You were born in the year 2000, and I feel like your youth is like always the topic of conversation. Like people are talking about you, she's so young. And I think that at some point in everybody's career, you have to like step away from that kind of, and you're probably like, stop talking about how young I am. Like, here I am, I'm like crushing it. You're actively doing that. Like, we're not just prefacing you by saying how young you are anymore. You're already a mainstay. You're emerging as a young leader of this U.S. Women's National Team. Do you feel that new role that you're playing? You're one of the most experienced forwards in camp. Like, how do you find yourself adjusting to that?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I definitely do think it's good to move away from like the topic of conversation being like age, because our team is really young right now. And like you said, I am one of the older, more experienced forwards on this team right now. And I think for me, that's exciting. Like I always want to find a balance of knowing my place and knowing that I still have so much to learn. And that's like the best feeling ever, because I have the players around me to learn from, even if they're younger than me. While at the same time, I do have a little bit more experience with this team than some of the younger forwards, and I feel like I can help them in that way. But I'm just kind of finding that middle ground of like, I am still young and I still have so much that I want to accomplish and do and learn. But I do have a new kind of position on this team where I can step into more of a leadership role, whatever that may look like. And I think this position that I'm in is a really cool position to be in.
Soph's humility and eagerness to learn has always really struck me. I think that's the main characteristic that it requires to be a mainstay on the U.S. Women's National Team. You have to be willing to learn and grow each and every day and always strive to be better. I was curious what it is about these players that they feel really sets them apart. Yes, they have this eagerness and willingness to learn and grow, but what kinds of skills got them to this level in the first place? So I asked Soph. What I remember the most about playing with you and against you is how strong you are and how difficult that makes it to get the ball off of you. And I always feel so bad for defenders because you're one of those like rare forwards who is just as good in tight spaces as you are with space to run. You use your body so well. You have amazing scoring ability. You can set yourself up to shoot from distance. You can get in the box to finish crosses. You're just so well-rounded. So of all these things that you're so world-class at, what do you think is your strongest skill as a player? Like, is there one thing that you take a lot of pride in?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm always asked like what like my like area of growth is.
Oh, no, we're
So
not
this is
talking about that here.
I would say I feel like I am just as fast on the ball as I am without it. Like I feel like there's a lot of athletes who are really fast without it, but then like when it comes to dribbling, they kind of slow down, and I feel like that's one of my strengths that I use is just being able to be fast with the ball and just dribble and use my speed at the same time.
I think that's really what sets Triple Espresso apart and makes them such a threat. You have Sophia's speed and nose for the goal, Mal's versatility, and then Trin's ability to pull off these insane moves that no one else is doing. I had to know more about the move that has since been coined the Trin spin. This is from my interview with Trinity back in March of 2024. Trinity, you have the ability to just pull off these incredible moments on the field. Your game is such a unique blend of athleticism, skill, and bravery. When you pull off something really sick, something that's like definitely going to be in the highlights, do you feel like you're just totally in the zone, like it's your body doing what it knows how to do subconsciously, or are you kind of thinking through every step?
No, I don't think I'm thinking at all. I think that's like why it works so much because it is so natural and it just like, I don't know, I just am like, how am I going to get out of this one? And it's not most people's first first like option, but for some reason my brain goes to like, oh, let's do a 360 twirl through the legs. Like it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to get
Same.
out of that.
Yeah.
No, I think, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of thought. I think I definitely hide my expression when I pull it off, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't think that one was gonna go through the legs, but here we go.
Well, what about when you watch them back? Like if you see a highlight of yourself, are you ever like, damn, that was like actually so sick?
Oh yeah, like I'll watch it with my mom and be like, Mom, look. But I think no, I'm getting like roasted now because now I have like my signature like pullback Meg thing. It's like, oh, that's all she can do. I'm like, but it works.
Yeah,
So I don't want to
I
hear
wish that's all I could do.
Yeah.
Referencing the good old-fashioned Trin spin, which we have all come to know and love, unless you're defending it. I loved my conversation with Trin so much. It's been so cool to see her develop over the past few years and really grow into her role with the national team. She plays with such confidence, so I was actually surprised to learn in chatting with her that she wasn't always sure she'd end up on the national team. You got your first call in to She Believes in February of 2022. What did that feel like to get called in for the very first time, and who did you call to tell them the news first?
It was crazy. I mean, that's the thing with me, like I'm never thinking, it's the weirdest thing, I'm never thinking ahead of like what's gonna happen. I obviously have those goals for myself, but I'm never thinking like, oh, I could get called up. Like that was never even on my mind. Like even when I went in that game, like the first goal I ever got in the NWSL, like I never thought I'd touch the field that whole year. Like I was like, I'm just a practice player. Like I'm here to practice. So I think for me, it's just like everything's been a shock of, whoa, that's happening. So it was the most amazing thing. I was so shocked in a way. And then I group FaceTime with my sister, my mom, my brother, and I was like, guys, guess what? But no, it was the most amazing thing ever. But I think, too, the hardest thing about that was how, I don't want to say how horribly Spirit was doing at the time. And, like, that year. And then trying to perform at, like, the highest level with the national team was, like, the weirdest balance ever. Like, it's so nice when you're doing well at NWSL and then you go into camp and you're like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I have the confidence. But then when you're doing poor, it's like, how do I channel that inner confidence again? You know?
Yeah, totally. Well, I think like speaking of that, at this time in 2022, the US women's national team roster was like going through kind of a period of transition. And you were kind of asked right away to step in and play a big role for the national team. I think like years ago, it would take players a long time to get caps and to earn like minutes on the team. But your generation, I think maybe partly because you guys are so good and because you're being put into professional environments sooner, you're being expected to deliver right away, right when you get called in. So you've only been on the national team for 2 years and we expect so much from you already. When I was on the national team for 2 years, I was like still so clueless. So how have you handled being asked to do so much for the national team in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I don't know if I've handled it. Like I feel like it's gonna be like a process for the longest
Yeah.
time. And obviously, the ups and downs of being in camp and then having to go back and perform. But I don't know. For me, it is an adjustment, and two, it's not just like two different teams. You're also asked to play two different roles, and that's also the tough part. Is like you gain confidence with club of just like the comfortability of being with them all the time, playing your specific way with your skill set, and then you're going into camp and you're being asked to do something different. There's different game plans, there's different tactics, there's different positionings that they want you to be in, and I think for me, you're almost like relearning every single time you go in, and like I love the fact that I feel like I'm still learning every single day on the field, but at the same time, it's like I still feel like I'm retaining information while trying to play at the highest level. So I think that's the hardest thing for me is like I almost feel like I'm trying to catch up with what's happening still. So that's been tough. But again, I think with the interchange of the team and the younger players, the veterans, everything in between has helped the team really mesh because everyone's kind of going through different things. So almost like relating on the stressful moments and like being able to connect that way is the most bizarre way to put it, but it's been helpful to have that support. And yeah, I think too, another thing that I never really bring up, just looking up to all these players and now going through it and talking to them as friends is the most bizarre thing ever, but the most amazing thing. Because it's like when you're out of the environment and even like fans in general, like you look in the environment and you're like, oh, it's easy. Like they're there for a week. They have to play one game and they're going to just do their job. And then you're in the environment and you're like, oh my gosh, like, no,
I know.
it's
Isn't it
not
wild?
easy. Yeah, it's the craziest thing ever. But yeah, seeing behind the scenes of everything, being a part of it and pushing each other so hard is amazing, but also tolling in a way that I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate.
I know. I hear you. I think one time Tobin Heath told me that like kind of an initiation onto the national team is if you've sat down in your shower and cried. And I was like, oh, I'm on the national team then. I do that all the time. And I think it just speaks to like, it's not that it's miserable. It's just that it's such an elite training environment and you want to be there so bad and you want to perform so bad that sometimes when you don't live up to your own expectations, it's just really stressful and emotional. Does that make sense to you? Like, do you agree?
No, 100%. And I think too, with having so many camps, it's like you feel like you're almost like, I just left camp and I'm going back again. Like it's like you leave camp and you're already getting the email that you're invited to the next one. It's like, But I think, yeah, it's crazy.
This was so fascinating for me to hear Trin talk about. Sometimes I just think that these younger players, like the Gen Z girls, they kind of have everything all figured out and that maybe they aren't shower crying like we were. Maybe they're all just like zen and chill and doing their skincare and meditating and taking it one day at a time like you're supposed to. And I really hope that they are. But the national team environment is really intense. And it is always kind of reassuring to just hear that other players feel the pressure as well, so you know that you're not crazy. One other thing I found really inspiring and that I want to highlight here is Mal's personal journey over the past year and a half. We all remember when Mal tragically went down injured just months before the 2023 World Cup. She ended up dealing with some really scary setbacks from that injury, an infection. She missed the World Cup, but ultimately she came back and helped the U.S. women's national team win gold at the Olympics. This is what Mal and I spoke about in October regarding that injury journey. Mal, your journey specifically was, I alluded to this earlier, so inspiring to watch. Going from your injury last year to scoring the gold medal winning goal So I think I want to know, what would you give as advice to somebody who's maybe just dealing with the beginning stages of an injury right now, knowing that in 1 year after your major injury, you were celebrating winning a gold medal?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely, the first thing I would say is like, you just like literally have to keep going on. I think for me during that time, I thought there's only one way through. And giving myself only one option through, I think helped just kind of like simplify everything for me. And it's so cliche to say like things will always get better, because like they always do, but like when you're going through a hard time, like that's the last thing you want to hear. So yeah, that's why I think the first thing I would always say is like, you just literally have to keep going. Like you have to give yourself no other option than to keep going. And then in the back of your head, you can like on a good day be like, yeah, things are getting better and things will get better. And yeah, I feel like those two things kind of just like kept me going. And then obviously, yeah, ending with a gold medal through that like journey is like, I would have never ever even thought that would have happened, but it did. And I'm obviously like just super thankful and blessed to be able to be in that position. But yeah, I think the one thing that like got me to that is I just didn't give myself an option to like not do it.
Such an inspiring story. And Mal's takeaway is spot on. Her mindset is a huge part of why she has had this kind of success. I want to share another happier moment with Mal because it is such a fun memory for me. I want to rewind a little bit. This is like, I love this memory. You got your first cap for the US Women's National Team in 2016. And I remember we like subbed on the field together. We were playing Ireland. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I've even told you this. I was like trying to help you because I was like, oh my gosh, she's so young. She's going to be nervous. It's her first cap. So I was like, Mal, you're going to be great. Just go out there and be you and we have your back. And you literally weren't nervous at all. You were like, okay. And you scored like immediately. And I was nervous. Do you remember that?
No, I remember. I actually do remember you saying that. It's funny because I feel like I really wasn't.
Nervous.
I probably was nervous. I don't know.
You were 17. I don't think you like.
Yeah, I was like, whatever happens, happens. Like,
well, and you scored.
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay, another amazing goal that you scored. Remember in our first game of the World Cup, we both scored our first World Cup goals.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Do you remember being like not knowing if you should celebrate or not? Because remember we had like run up the score, kind of everybody was mad, but we didn't know that yet. Like, yeah. Can you talk us through that goal? Do you remember it?
Yeah. I remember it was like, I took a touch around the keeper and literally I was like, if this does not go in, then we're in trouble. You can only score in a World Cup. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I wanted to celebrate. That was exciting.
I know. It was so exciting.
I remember going over to the sideline and like everyone's like, yeah, we're going to celebrate that.
I know. And I still look back on that game and like our bonding in our celebrating as like one of the happiest moments of the tournament where we were just like, we're going to do it. Like we can do it. And we were all so happy.
Exactly.
I know. I loved that. Mal and I have so many memories together and I'm so proud of the journey she's on. Being along for the ride through so many ups and downs of her career has made my respect for her as a player and a person really grow. I know there are such big things ahead for Mal and I can't wait to see her continue to shine. It's been so fun reliving these moments from these interviews in the last year. I also shared some really fun moments with all three of these players, and we can't let this opportunity pass without hearing some of them back. Here's one with Soph. How would you describe yourself if you couldn't use soccer in the description?
I'm a very chill, down-to-earth person who just likes to spend time with the people that I'm close with and do things that make me happy, like sit in the sun, read a good book.
The simple things.
I'm a simple person.
Who's the best player you've ever played with?
Oh, Sammy, you're up there.
Oh my God.
And we only played together so long, but you are up there. Like, you are a special player. I feel like I have not played with someone like you since I played with you.
So that was like really nice. You don't even
Well, it's
you don't
true.
even have to
It's true.
don't even have to name anybody else. That was
I'm
just
not going
perfect
to.
answer.
I'm not going to. I can't.
Literally so nice, Soph. I'm still blushing. And then I asked Trinity when she knew she was going to be good at soccer.
Yeah, this question's like so funny because my answer's like when I first started playing soccer, which people don't believe, but me and my mom talk about it all the time. Just I never understood the concept of like, oh, we're playing just for fun. Like we're playing just to like laugh and smile, giggle, have a good time. No, I was not laughing. I wasn't smiling. Like I wanted to win. I wanted to score goals. I wanted to dribble everyone. I wanted to win. And I think that started really young, but like I only had that for soccer. And that's the thing, it like wasn't something that I had to like get. Like I was just there with soccer. Other sports I kind of was okay, this isn't it. Like I know that. But with soccer, it's like always been there, and I think it's still there. Like obviously you can have fun sometimes, but it's like, come on, we want to win, you know?
I know. I like actually totally believe you, and I so relate. My dad was my coach when I was like literally only like 5 and 6 years old, and he would have to like put goal restrictions on me in these little like 6-year-old soccer games because I would just like I would just score a lot, and I would want to be able to score as much as possible. So when he would tell me to like calm down, I'd cry, and I would be like miserable that I couldn't just go on a rampage and score as many goals. When you were young in that age and probably doing exactly the same thing, could you just tell that you were like more athletic than everybody else?
Yeah. I don't want to sound like cocky in saying that, but like it was just different. Like I wasn't trying to like, oh, give it to Susie Ann to score a goal. No, I didn't. Like I'm not like I don't want to pass it to them for them to have a good time. It was more like give me the ball. Yeah. As the years have gone on, I've become a little bit more selfless, so that's good. That's a great characteristic to adopt or acquire. So I think I had that level pretty young.
Trin really called out Susie Ann right there. I am so sorry, Susie Ann. You didn't deserve that. Mal and I even got the chance to reminisce about her first national team camp. Mal, when you first came onto the national team, you were so young and so precious. I was just talking to Rose about this today. Do you remember dancing to Selena Gomez, Can't Keep My Hands to Myself, with Rose in front of the entire team at your first camp?
Yeah, I don't know. I like don't know why we did that. Like that is like, could you imagine? I don't think I would do that now.
You guys did a choreographed dance and like Abby Wambach was there.
Yeah. Abby Wambach was there. I think Sid, Alex, like, and we like called the shots. We were like,
We're doing this.
everyone sit down and watch us dance. And I don't know why. I seriously would not do that now.
Can you imagine if a 17-year-old did that now? What we would like, we'd be like, what?
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, that's cute. But I'd be curious to ask. I wonder if they think now what they thought of it. Like if they thought it was a good dance, or they were just like these girls.
Yeah, I don't really know what they thought of it because like I was also kind of new. So I was just like, wow, these girls are brave.
They're brave. Getting up and dancing.
Every time I talk with Mal, Soph, and Trin, I'm filled with such joy and assurance that the U.S. Women's National Team is in good hands with them. We're at such an exciting point for the U.S. Women's National Team with the World Cup coming in 2027, the Olympics in 2028, and there's still so much time for this team to grow and evolve over the next couple of years. And I know that Trin, Soph, and Mal will play a huge role in shaping how the team does that. I can't wait to see how Triple Espresso continue to cement their place in the legacy of the national team. This has been such a fun walk down memory lane. We have 2 more of these best of episodes coming your way over the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for those. And thank you all so much for being here with us. 2024 was only the beginning. We'll see you soon.